Hi, everyone. I would like to introduce you to Dr. Sheel Tangri, chiropractic kinesiologist. He's a specialist in neural organization technique. He was born in Mumbai, India. He was raised in Winnipeg, Canada. He took his bachelor degree in science and a doctoral degree in chiropractic from Palmer Chiropractic University in Davenport, Iowa, USA. He has lived in Samara, Costa Rica for 15 years, and he practices internationally. Welcome, Dr. Sheel. Tell us what you do.
Thank you for inviting me. What do I do? Well, in a short form, I reboot people's computers. And people say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, basically with chiropractic, what we're doing is we're dealing with removing interference in the nervous system. In the early years, many people thought that was by the spine and realignment of the spinal column, which is what chiropractic traditionally is. And by doing so, you unblock the nerve channels and restore pathways to and from the body. However, chiropractic started to have its limits because you would keep going back for treatment, which was no different than taking a pill for the rest of your life or having to use some kind of, always taking vitamins or always doing a specific kind of exercise. And if you didn't do that exercise or didn't take that pill, then the problem would return. So the doctor who I studied with, as explained in my book, Let It Flow, and on my videos, which is found on my website, drsheel.com, Dr. Carl Ferrari was his name. He used applied kinesiology, which basically they found a way of checking the body and getting feedback from the body energetically, much like an electrician would get information of the status of electrical flow in your house or in a circuit in your television or something like that. With the television, for example, you plugged it in and it goes through a whole series of breakers and transistors and diodes and capacitors. If you take the back off a TV set, it looks very foreign. It looks just like a mishmash of stuff, but really there's an intelligent pathway. And this is the key. And a good electrician will have to know how to check from A to Z, from the plug, then the electricity goes through this switch, then the next switch, then the next switch. There's an actual order. And he can test with his little tester, is this circuit on? Is this circuit on? Is this circuit on? And when he finds when the circuit tester goes off, it's the knowledge of the electrician to know how to repair it and turn it back on. This is basically what applied kinesiology does. So there's a lot of people running around saying, oh, I do muscle testing and testing circuitry. But the analogy I give is that, well, I can go and give a wire and a light bulb, a little probador or a tester to anybody. And does that automatically make them a good electrician? No, it doesn't. It just, they can test the circuits to see if they're on or off. The key is knowing how to repair it and how to repair it ideally so it does not keep coming back, which means you're addressing the cause, not just temporarily fixing it and then you have to keep coming back. So the doctor who I studied with, Dr. Carl Ferrari from Brooklyn, New York, he was one of the first chiropractic kinesiologists. He knew acupuncture way back in the 60s. Very few people knew acupuncture back then. He was doing craniosacral therapy, reflexology, any kind of seminars. He was just sucking up the knowledge. It was the way he worked. And once the muscle testing phenomena came out, where you could get this feedback from the body, do the correction, and then retest to know the body was back on, he now had a beautiful way of talking to the body and get feedback, not based on what the patient would say, I hurt here, or I feel fine, I don't feel fine. You're bypassing all of that and just having the patient test their body computer. And he did this for about 10 years and was getting better results. And patients would come in with any condition because his approach was that there must be some disorganization of the central nervous system first, because that's what tells a muscle or an organ to go up or down. And in its function, it goes hyper or hypo. So the brain and the spinal cord are doing the right thing all the time. We have to figure out why it's doing it. And that was how applied kinesiology worked. So he started doing the testing on Parkinson's conditions, on neck and shoulder problems, on immune system problems. And as the years progressed and he had lots of case studies, he was able to find that there are specific points from all of these different therapies. There's a few points from acupuncture, a few points from here, a few points from sacral therapy, but you have to put them together in sequence, just like the TV set was put together. And that's the unique thing about neural organization technique. There's about 20 of us around the world. He figured out really through 20 years of research, he was able to specifically find the programs and how to reset them very simply by hand, by just touching, not force. And it's more so in order. You do this, you find this, you check it. If it's off, you reset it. You do these 8 points, 12 points, 15 points, and then you recheck, and then you move to the next thing. It was like I say, he found the manual for the human body and how to reset it. And it can be done in one treatment, maybe 2 treatments, and does not return unless they have a new trauma, a major trauma. And what we found is most of these traumas, they cause disorganization, which is why he called the technique neural organization technique. The body gets disorganized and cannot reset itself. And we have the ability to reset ourselves. We do not need doctors. We do not need all of these things. We survived in the jungle for a long, 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 long time without all this stuff. We have the healing capabilities within us. It's just over time we have lost that healing capability. A lot of people are looking externally that you can heal yourself through electromagnetics, you can heal yourself through vitamin therapies, through nutrition, through yoga, and it's true, you can. The question is, does it keep coming back? Does the condition keep coming back? And our approach is to say, well, when I buy a laptop, it comes with either an operating system for Windows or for Microsoft, Apple. If that base operating system is disorganized, it doesn't matter what applications you put on top of it, the computer is still not running the way it was originally purchased when you bought it at the store. And that's what NOT is analogous to. We first want to make sure before we start any exercise regimes, any dietary regimes, first these basic primitive programs that are common to all human beings have to be reorganized. And in most people, by the time they're 5 to 10 years of age, they've been disorganized because they had a fall or a trauma and they think they're fine. But when they actually come in for an assessment and we start doing the all circuit check, they actually aren't. I have 25, 30 years experience in over 30 countries doing this. And I've probably less than 5 people in my life have not had any disorganization. Almost everybody has had disorganization, but the beauty is we can reset it. And usually in one session, maybe 2 sessions. So that's a little lowdown of what I do.
Thank you. That's very interesting. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about why you chose to also have the mind mat?
Well, everything is electromagnetics. Way back in the day, I studied about magnetics. There's even chiropractic techniques that use magnets. You could put a magnet south pole down or north pole down, and it would change their leg lengths, or a muscle would go weak. And we found that organs and bones, etc., all have polarity. Okay, so for example, my elbow, the end of this bone actually has a positive charge, and the end of this bone has a positive charge. Because if one was positive and one was negative, they would fuse. So the body knows what it's doing with repulsion and attraction. If I break the bone here, and the magnetics or the electromagnetics are not healed properly, which can be done through hand or through things like MyMat or through other technologies, even just putting magnets on them, the shock of the arm being broken could cause negative positive at the break, or negative or positive, and the bone never heals back like this, but it actually heals like when you put 2 magnets together, they never go together, they actually go, and that's how the bone heals. But knowing these technologies, which really I think existed from thousands of years ago, they've just been suppressed. You can just put the magnet on for 10 minutes, a superpower magnet, and all of a sudden you help the body, and it says, okay, I can take over from here. I know more than all you doctors, I just need a little assistance. And that's the power of the body's healing. So the same thing with, I was very fascinated by something called, forgot the name. There was another technique we had in chiropractic college where radionics, where everything had a signature frequency, and you could put the vibrational frequency in these little vials of water and oil, and these vials would have the frequency signature of influenza B or herpes virus, etc. So in our clinic, we could put the vial on the patient and test them for muscle testing and see if they stay strong or go weak. And we could get feedback if they're reactive and then do the corrections without them actually having to have the illness. And then I learned about Raymond Rife back in the 1900s, early 1900s, and the Rife machine. And I thought that was fascinating. What he had found out is that every disease has a certain frequency, a signature. And Nikola Tesla was saying the same thing. Everything is frequency and vibration. And so the Rife machine, though, was very clumsy because it was a glass tube, and you had to have this glass tube turn on electricity running through it, set the frequency, and then sit in the field for an hour, which meant you had to sit there. But that was the technology in the 1900s. One day I was visiting a chiropractor out in Connecticut, and a friend of mine, and he had this little machine with 2 anodes, and he said, "Hey, that's a Rife machine, but now with computers, they could change it and program with a computer chip." So all the frequencies were in this little electronic device, so you could travel with it, but you still had to hold on to the cathode or the electrodes, which means you were staying put. So I bought this machine and I was using it, and I still use it today. But I had met when I moved to Costa Rica, I met this lady, Renata, and she got a session from me, and then she introduced me to what she called was her healing mat. And this made a lot of sense to me too. It was using the same kind of principles, except she explained to me that with the Rife machine, you're sort of zapping and attacking the frequency to nullify it. But with the MyMat, you were raising the body frequency so it can use the own innate intelligence to deal with the problem, which I like that concept. It made sense to me. But at that time, I didn't really have a place, and there was the big MyMats, and that's all they were. So I recommended them to people, but I didn't personally have one to experiment with. And only a few months ago, or a little while ago, I reconnected with her, and I was working on patients at her house and on her family members, and she showed me now what they've done with the technology, and they still have the professional mats and the personal mats, but they also have the portable ones, and I travel a lot, and I thought this was fantastic because now not only can you walk around the house with it, you don't have to have it in one place. You could take this anywhere, and it was much more affordable too for families to just be able to have. So I think people should, if they can, it would be ideal to have a mat in your house to use. But if not, at least a portable one you could use, because this is going to be the way. My work of what I do with resetting the central nervous system, I know it's coming. Its time is here. And it's not to say I'm better than other people or worse than my technique. There's many techniques, but none other techniques that I've seen can reproduce over and over and over. And that's the thing that neural organization technique stands out as a chiropractic kinesiology technique. And also with these frequency mats and these frequency generators, this is going to be the new way of healing, because you're awakening the body's own vibrational sensor, and then it can take off on its own. I use it every night when I'm sitting and watching a video of, I learn a lot at nighttime sitting and listening to YouTube stuff, and I'll put in a program and I'll choose what I want. If it's digestion or if it's energy balancing or chakra rebalancing, you use it innately. Of course, if you have some kind of condition, you're going to want to be aggressive with it, use it twice a day, that kind of thing. But eventually, when I do have a clinic, an established clinic or teaching center, then I would definitely be interested in getting one of the professional mats and using that as an assistive after post-treatment after my work, or pre-treatment, I'd have to experiment with it. So I think it's a great product.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Sheel Tangri. Would you like to give your contact data so people can contact you if they're interested in the neural organization technique or as a chiropractic kinesiologist?
Sure. The first thing I would recommend, though, always, because people want to talk to me and then say, so what do you do? And that is why I wrote the book to explain it. It's available in 4 languages for free. You download it straight off the website, which is drssheel.com. DRSHEEL.com. Very simple. And through there, if you have any questions, there's a bunch of videos. There's a main video explaining a little bit about like what I gave you an introduction today. And then it says watch the video series. And there's about 20 videos, shorter videos that explain how we treat scoliosis, immune system problems, Parkinson's. And the list goes on because we can treat any condition because we're not fixing the condition. What we're doing is resetting the central nervous system back to its original, like rebooting, and then the body can take over and start dealing with things the way it had to, and things clear up very quickly. Then if it's not, people can then start going with vitamin regimes or traditional chiropractic, physiotherapy, massage, and all these other, and they will find much more success because they're not fighting against the body's will. So look through all the videos. There's other information, and then if you have any questions, etc., through the website, you can find info@drssheel.com. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if you have questions about purchasing a MyMat, then by all means, let me know, and I'll answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sheel Tangri. And also, if any information about the MyMat additional on healinghouse.live or our WhatsApp from Healing House, which is 506 88 38 8883. Thanks a lot for your precious time. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you. My pleasure.